Okay, then. It's getting kind of serious around these parts. A brand new shocking heavyweight fight was just announced. Former YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul will be fighting Anthony Joshua, former 2X British heavyweight champion. Meet with me. It's mad things, bro. And in this video, that's what I want to break down. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I'm just catching up. Shout out to everybody rocking with me. You know I'm going to hit y'all off with the news. And this news might come as a shock. There were reports of it, but I was skeptical. A lot of people were skeptical. My big thing is this. I'm not apologizing for nothing. I'm going to continue to be this way. It serves me well. I do not like negotiations in the public. When I start hearing it from like reporters and not the fighter, not the platform, I don't believe it. So if you guys go to my post, I literally said, until I hear from AJ, Jake Paul particularly, or Netflix, I'm not believing nothing. That time has come. As Jake Paul, he took to his social media and posted the flyer, which I will show you. This is my video post, right? But here's Jake Paul. We on the verified page. Boom. You see the check mark, and boom, right there. He has it down. So Jake Paul is fighting Anthony Joshua, which is, it sounds insane, to be honest. Sounds insane. And I'll break it down further. But he posted it on his social media. Then if you go to Anthony Joshua's page, he got 16 million plus fans. Joshua posted it. And it says, yes, it's real. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua will go head-to-head in a pro heavyweight fight live on Netflix Friday, December 19th. Jake Joshua. Right? In case you needed more proof, I'm on Netflix. They got like almost 40 million on their site. And boom, the platform posted it. So, yeah, it's very real. And it's going down in Miami Friday, December 19th on Netflix. Kudos. My honest opinion, let's start there. You got to give Jake Paul credit. In my opinion, I like this fight better than the Gervonta Davis fight because I understand what they were trying to do. Jake kept calling out Canelo. Canelo did a 4-fight deal or whatever with the Saudis and left Jake Paul without a dance partner. Jake Paul is a businessman. He's a boxer, but he's also an entertainer / businessman. So he was not to be deterred. So Canelo did whatever he did. And Jake Paul said, all right, came with the Julio Cesar Chavez, another Mexican fighter, right? So he came with that card, got that fight out the way. Chavez got deported and took a loss. That's what happened. And Jake Paul came out with the Tank fight. So I wasn't real high up on the Tank fight because I thought it was rather weird. I thought it was weird just given the weight difference. If Tank was naturally bigger, then you could make something else. So the Canelo fight, I understood that because Canelo, his walk around weight is definitely heavier than Tank, and he's just a bigger guy than Tank. So I thought he was closer to Jake Paul in weight. The biggest issue I had with Jake Paul and Tank is the weight. Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson. He was 200 plus pounds, almost 230 probably, 220, whatever he was, right? Closer to it than he wasn't. And Tank really is a guy who could fight at 130, fights at 135. It just seemed weird. That's why that fight was an exhibition. So I understood it from a business stance. Netflix I highly doubt the board is just a whole bunch of diehard boxing fans. So they probably don't really care about boxing like hardcore boxing fans care about. They're just trying to turn profit, and they're dabbling into live sports as an extension of what they're doing. But they're not trying to, in my opinion, I don't work for Netflix, so I don't speak for them. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. Netflix is not trying to make the HBO Showtime investment where HBO and Showtime for like 30, 40 years was holding down the sport of boxing. I don't think Netflix is in it like that. They are only looking for kind of like these type of fights where it's high profile and you could get a good amount of traction. So for the fans who do not like this style of matchup, tough titty, because I truly believe boxing is headed in that direction where you'll still get real boxing fights, but you're going to get these type of fights where it's like Blueface versus Aaron the Plumber or whatever. If they feel the metrics make sense and it can make a bunch of noise, Tekashi 6ix9ine versus a real boxer, whatever. If they feel it can make enough noise, I guarantee you're going to start seeing more and more of these fights, right? Because, and I told you, I blame the boxing fans. I really do. Because here's the problem. I blame boxers too. Let me break this down because some people are going to get mad with this take. I blame boxing fans because boxing fans are oftentimes cheap. So you'll get a real good fight, like let's say Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach, a fight that you like, a fight that you want to see, and it's a good card. And then some of you boxing fans won't pay for it. So you like the card, you like the main event, but you're so cheap, you won't buy it, and you'll elect to illegally stream and pirate all boxing fights. So I told you guys then, years ago, what that was going to lead to. The companies, it's like the record industry. These people have been doing this for a while. The people at the top, they are going to find a way. If you're in a position of power and you hold the cards in terms of money, you're going to find a way to make money. So you've seen, instead of printing CDs and whatnot, everything's digital now. And then you could get 1 billion streams, and then the artists probably don't get paid that much compared to how much the labels and the universal music groups and stuff are getting. Sign of the times, like Prince said, right? So that's why I blame the boxing fans, because when it comes to real boxing, the fights that are real boxing, no novelty, no circus, people sometimes don't support. Now, I told you I also blame the fighters. Here's why. Every fighter outside of a handful of people like Gervonta Davis and Floyd Mayweather and older fighters like Pacquiao, a lot of y'all you let Jake Paul come from the Disney Channel and YouTube and create a whole brand, and not just him, but he's just one of them, where you let him out hustle you in terms of branding. People could say, oh, Jake's not fighting a real fighter. Oh, he's not a real boxer. But guess what he is doing? Bringing real attention, making real money. So it don't matter what you say. The reality is Netflix is doing business with him time after time. His name is preceding the actual boxers. It says Jake versus Tank, Jake versus Anthony Joshua. That's what it says, on the flyer or whatnot. So the reason I'm blaming boxers is because the boxers, a lot of them have, in this new generation, I'm not talking about Roy Jones and past generations, a lot of these boxers have the personality of a cucumber, and they kind of pop up when they have a fight, do very minimal to kind of hype up the fight, build the fight, and then you wonder why your brand gets surpassed by a person who did not even start in this, right? And I can attest to this because I'm a part of the digital age. There's a ton of fighters who you actually fought, but your channel did not blow up from surpass Boxing Ego because although you might be a great fighter, some of these fighters, they're super biased. So if they start a podcast, people ain't trying to hear someone not keep it real. Some of them don't have a personality versus you come to Boxing Ego, you get the Boxing Ego, you get treated, you get the Boxing Ego experience. I'm myself, I'm very true to myself, and I show my charisma. So don't be surprised when you feel like you're more qualified than a YouTuber or you're more qualified a boxer than Jake Paul, but then you get out hustled by these people because what you do lack is the branding. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of it. So a lot of these fighters, they don't brand themselves. Like, I don't want to call a whole bunch of names, but let's just say Virgil Ortiz. Where is he? When he don't have a fight, you don't even really hear from him. Good fighter, very good fighter, but you don't really hear from him. Versus Jake Paul, he's like, oh, I'm going to F1. Oh, I'm engaged. You can kind of see where he's at. He's more like visible. We're in a social media age, out of sight, out of mind. I get it. Everyone doesn't like paparazzi and media and people in your business, but this is the life you chose. Mike Tyson, he had visibility in his prime. 88, 90s Mike Tyson, he had punch-out games and da-da-da-da. Floyd Mayweather, he was on WWE punching and breaking the Big Show's nose. He was on Dancing with the Stars. He found a way back before social media was as big and prevalent as it is now. And Floyd Mayweather's out here dancing with the stars and on WWE, making these connections and crossover audiences to get people interested in his brand. I listened to Floyd on a motivational video, and he said he had to wrap his SUVs or wrap his vans, and he was traveling cross country promoting himself before social media. So again, guys like that, guys like Adrian Broner, guys now like Jake Paul, don't be surprised that they out hustle you. You know what I mean? When you're not branding yourself. That's all I'm going to say about that. As far as the fight, I like the fight better than the Tank fight. Super dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I do have questions. They're saying it's an 8-rounder, 10-ounce gloves. They're saying it's a real fight and it's not an exhibition. Super dangerous fight. Super dangerous fight really for both guys. I'm going to explain real quick. For Jake Paul, I mean, it's common sense. You're in there with an Olympian, a 6'6" gold medalist, and he got cracks. Even if you think he's chinny and whatever, if it's a real fight, you seen he put Ngannou down and he still got power. He knocked out Robert Helenius, so you couldn't get hit with nothing crazy. If Joshua's coming full throttle, you can't get hit with nothing crazy. You're out of here. So it's dangerous for Jake Paul for obvious reasons, but it's even dangerous for AJ. Here's why. Because let me tell you like this. If AJ were to lose to Jake Paul, that's going to ascend Jake Paul's career because people are like, oh, he ain't fought no boxer. He not fighting like in prime guys. Now, I wouldn't argue that AJ is in prime, but he still has enough attributes where Jake Paul's going to get credit if he is able to beat you. You know what I mean? Because you're a former champion, and although Joshua was lost, he's losing to true heavyweights like Ruiz, who has power and speed, Dubois, and Usyk. So everybody lose to Usyk so far. So the other guys that beat him, Ruiz and Dubois, they also have power. It's not like he got sat down by some powerless cruiserweight or something. You know what I mean? So dangerous fight. But here's the kicker. They're talking about Joshua will come back in February, and then they're hinting to a Tyson Fury fight. Mark my words right now. Hear me loud and clearly. Rats aren't near me. Wiretap, get blood in their earpiece. I'm from New Orleans, nowhere near grief. Near beef. Gear 3. Catch up. I'm in Gear 3. What song is that? Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know y'all hip hop. I don't even know I'm doing that. But anyway, If Joshua, hear me loud and clear, if Joshua loses to a former YouTuber in Jake Paul, right, who's kind of at the cruiserweight, heavyweight, he kind of like dabbles back and forth, Joshua's cooked. He's cooked. And all that hinting to him in February, I wouldn't even care who he's fighting in February if he can't beat Jake Paul. And if I don't care about a tune-up or whatever he's supposed to be doing in Riyadh in February, I for sure don't care if Joshua loses to if Joshua loses to Jake Paul, I will not care about no Tyson Fury because I already don't care about that fight because they waited too long. You dig? So imagine that's going to be amplified even more so if he can't beat Jake Paul. So if Joshua is truly at a point in his career where he cannot defeat Jake Paul, then the reason why it's dangerous is he has a lucrative deal with the Saudis, which is pretty much on the table and being hinted at, and that deal will be cooked. Because put it this way, you do the math. If you can't beat Jake Paul, who's not a lifelong boxer, and he's 6'1", and he's kind of cruiserweight to heavyweight, how can you beat Tyson Fury, who's a lifelong boxer, and he's 6'9", and he only lost to Usyk, but he beat Klitschko and he beat Wilder? That fight will be that fight to me will be officially cooked because right now it's already at a point where I don't even really care about Joshua Fury. But I guess for the masses, if Joshua were to eliminate Jake Paul, like knock him out like he did Ngannou, that would be big for Joshua's career because he's coming off a bad loss. So a lot of people don't like Jake Paul. They think he's like perpetrating and cosplaying a boxer and stuff like that. So that the risk is there, but there is a pro for Joshua, and that is if he knocks out and beats Jake Paul, people are going to credit him, which on paper, if it's a real fight, doesn't seem like something that's inconceivable because Jake Paul, when he fought a boxer, an actual boxer in Tommy Fury, he lost. Even though he dropped Tommy Fury, he lost. He didn't knock him out, and he lost, right? Anthony Joshua, even a fractured, beaten Joshua, like one that's lost, to me is like still levels above Tommy Fury. It's just common sense. Like he's done more accomplished, blah, blah, blah. So kind of an interesting fight. I do like it. I think it's kind of an upgrade based on the weight. I think Jake Paul's fighting someone bigger than him now. You know what I mean? I can't even say close in weight because Jake Paul is not going to be bigger than Joshua, I would imagine. And another detail is AJ can't weigh more than 245. So his last fight, I think he was 252. Joshua's going to have to shed a little bit more pounds according to the reports on the contract. So we're in interesting times when it comes to the fight game. But Jake Paul, he believes that Joshua is chinny. Joshua is not the same. And like, I guess now is the good time for him to beat him and say he beat a real boxer. Like I said, we're in super weird times. You got Jake Paul, who went from fighting a 135-pounder who's like 5'5", 5'6", to fighting somebody who's 6'6", brolic, and got a lot of power. You've seen the Ngannou fight. So that's a pretty extensive jump to go from a lightweight to an actual former champion heavyweight with completely different dimensions. The other thing that is just super weird about this fight is they're fighting December 19th, and it's like almost November 18th, right? Tomorrow's November 18th. So you got like a month to train. I mean, I guess Joshua's been out the ring since the Dubois fight, but he usually stays in shape, but he's not going to be able to have like much of a real camp. I've heard that Joshua has an exclusive contract with DAZN, so that was something that they had to work out in order. They had to pay out DAZN or whatever to allow Joshua to appear on Netflix only, because this is a Netflix deal. Netflix don't share with like DAZN. They got their own thing going. You know what I mean? But the fight will be free, it looks like, if you have Netflix and have a Netflix account. And we'll see how it plays out. But completely different situation and just weird. You know, I wonder what Jake Paul sees in Joshua that he thinks is that sweet, considering the fact how the Tommy Fury fight went. And then now you're in there with someone a million times bigger. He must have really low expectations for this current version of Joshua. So we'll see how it plays out. Let me know if you think this is delusional, if I'm on point. Is Jake Paul delusional? Is Joshua chopped? I need to know something in the comment section. You did. For more boxing news, subscribe to me. My name's Ego. I've been covering boxing well over 15 years, the best in the business, and it's not even close. Deuces.